This morning, instead of our regular AFL, I thought we'd take a look at the budget and how it affects sport. Ricky Lambert, who's put together a response at Flow News 24, has put sport in there and has stated that he believes that sport is a loser. I'm going to ask Ricky exactly why that is. Why is sport a loser in the federal budget?
There's been a lot of positivity, Wayne, about aged care and women and other winners in the budget, but no one's really talking about who misses out in this federal budget, and sport is a big loser. In real terms, spending on sport in this federal budget goes down 42% over the next 4 years. And what we're seeing is very little being spent on community and grassroots sport for your local netball courts or football oval, but it's going towards the elite level and, funnily enough, towards elite women's sport in particular. Yeah,
it seems interesting. We've got the nationwide, there is $41 million to encourage kids to get into physical activity. That seems like a lot of money, but when you actually put it against elite women's sport, there's almost the same amount of money that the federal government's giving to the elite level of just 3 sports, as opposed to the whole of Australia and all of our children and their physical activity. There seems to be a paradox there, and the elite women's sports that are getting the money, we're talking about the Matildas, for their national youth football team, $12 million for hit-outs before their 2023 international tournaments. And then Basketball Australia, $5 million to host the FIBA Women's Basketball 2022 World Cup. Now, no one's necessarily saying that those elite women's sports shouldn't be funded, but the question has to be asked as to why regional sport facilities in regional areas aren't funded. But I'm going to ask you about a netball stadium. Now, this is one that has me completely perplexed, because the federal government's going to give $6 million towards upgrading in Adelaide the official netball headquarters. Now, that makes it interesting because the South Australian government's added $12 million to an $18 million upgrade. Yet the same South Australian government recently made an announcement, and that was that they're going to build a $700 billion stadium. And Ricky, could you refresh our memory as to what they're going to play at that big new stadium?
This new 15,000 spectator stadium will host concerts and conventions and other events, as well as basketball and netball games.
Yes, so we have the federal government and the South Australian government spending another $18 million on a headquarter netball stadium, and then they will still have another massive big stadium built in the city to play those games. It does seem that in the sporting tents that we've seen a lot of gear go exactly the other way, and it looks like there's a bit of a run-on effect happening in the wrong direction for country sport and what would appear to be for kids to actually get active and get fit in this federal budget.